Sell everything you have and move to Mexico. Just do it. It's easy, no problem. Yeah, just like up and go. Hola y un fuerte abrazo. I'm here today to talk about selling all your stuff and completely upending your life and relocating from whatever country you live in right now and moving to Mexico. And why it might not be so easy as some people can make it sound. Moving to Mexico sounds idyllic, at least to me it does, right? Slower pace of life, yummy food, beautiful weather, friendly people, a better cost of living, at least if you're coming from the US. And all of that sounds so great. But, you know, in truth, the actual move and the plan it takes to get there can be a little more complicated than it might first appear. So a little bit of a reality check today and just things you should be thinking about as you plan to make this move. Also, what I'm going to do for you here, because I'm feeling very tired, is I'm going to put in some very beautiful footage of walking down Calle 47, which is the gastronomic corridor, in the evening. So you can enjoy looking at that while we chat, or while I chat. I've been working on my plan to move to Mexico solidly since 2018. And then I kind of converted it or molded it into what I call my 5-year plan to move to Mérida, Mexico. I started that in 2020. I'm not saying that your move has to take a long time, but here are some things to consider when you're implementing your strategy. So let's say you've already found the place you want to be in Mexico, the state, the city, all of that good stuff. And that's great. But now comes big decisions, deciding on renting a home in that place or buying a home in Mexico or a condo in Mexico. But either way, you're going to need, obviously, an exploratory trip to find your accommodations. So before you take that trip, go to or email the Mexican consulate that's closest to you, make the appointment. Some are online, some are in person, but make the appointment to get your temporary resident visa or your permanent. Then you're going to take the required documents to your appointment or email. And those documents are going to be different for different states, for different Mexican consulates, as well as the financial solvency requirement. So make sure you understand what it is for your consulate. So once you're there and they approve it, they look at everything, they decide, okay, yeah, you're good. They put a sticker in your passport. And from that date, you have 6 months to travel to Mexico and go before immigration. Once you enter Mexico, you have 30 days to have your appointment with immigration. If you want to be a part-time resident, please don't rely on the 180-day tourist visa. They're not obligated to give 180 days every time you arrive in Mexico. So next up, what will you do with your current home? Will you rent it? Will you sell it? Now, if you don't own your home and you're renting wherever you live now, obviously you can skip dealing with this big topic. But if you do own your home, you have to think about it. Am I going to rent it out or am I going to sell it? If you decide to rent it out, having good property management is obviously paramount, because who wants to worry about a leaking skylight from 3,000 miles away? If you keep your home as like a backup plan to hold for future equity, then what kind of rental will you operate? Long-term? Short-term? Furnished finder? If you are choosing to live in Mexico part-time, then like a furnished finder or something like that might be good for you. But you also just have to think overall, does it pencil out for you to keep it, pay taxes, insurance, property management, plus the cost of worry? How do you put a dollar amount on that? Or does it pencil out for you to sell it? If you decide to sell, then you have to start going through all your belongings, donating, selling, sorting out what you might want to take with you if you are taking things to Mexico. That's another video. Or, what you want to give away, donate, or give to people that you love. Now, this can also be time consuming because sometimes it's harder to part with our stuff than we realize, sentimental things, family heirlooms. But the benefit of going through is it also gives you another opportunity to maybe visit that person you haven't seen in a while, a family member, a friend, and give them that something meaningful that you don't want to just put in the Goodwill or the thrift store. So once you have sorted all of your belongings, all of your earthly possessions, then you have to think about the mail. I chose a service instead of like using family or friends. It would have worked. Lots of people would have offered to receive my mail, and I don't get that much anymore, but it still feels a little bothersome. And then what if they move or, something horrible happened? Of course, we don't want to think about that. But, having them open a piece of mail, oh, can you take a picture of it? Oh, that's a check. Can you, can you Venmo me that or whatever? It seemed to be a little too complicated. I'd rather just have it with a company. And I went with Traveling Mailbox. No, I'm not an affiliate. Then there's closing out of accounts that you're no longer going to need. For me, that's some business accounts. And that's just like, yay, I don't have to spend that money anymore. So it's thinking through all those accounts and especially pesky annual fees. Then there's the matter of healthcare. Do you keep your home base insurance, Medicare, Medicaid? Do you opt for privatized healthcare in Mexico? You need to figure out how all of that works, where you are at in your life. While you're at it, is your will updated? I'm going to update I have one, but I'm going to update it with my Mexican lawyer when I'm down in Mexico. Also, take a list of your prescriptions with you on your next exploratory trip to Mexico and ask your neighborhood pharmacist if they can get them all and which ones require a prescription. Now, there's the matter of taxes. Paying taxes in Mexico on earned income. Like me, I have short-term rental income. I pay taxes on that income monthly. You heard me right. I have a bookkeeper in Mexico for that very reason. And then I have to deal with my taxes in the US. So I suggest for you popping into a Facebook group in the area where you want to live and ask for a recommendation of a CPA who is versed in taxes in Mexico and your country. Then there's how do you get the money from the US, in my case, to Mexico. So right now I rely really heavily on Wise, mostly because I'm just traveling back and forth right now, but that's going to change. I'll end up learning. I'm still learning all these things. I'll end up learning how to transfer to my Mexican bank account. Which brings me to my next point. Once you're settled into your new place in Mexico, you're going to want a Mexican cell phone, a Mexican bank account, maybe a Mexican credit card, which is very handy for paying the internet bill and not lapsing in service. But before that, you need your name on an electric bill if you own your home, or a copy of your lease agreement so that you can then go and get those things. These are just a tiny little bit of the things that have come up for me as I've been planning to move to Mérida, Mexico. And as I get closer to departure time, these things have become more time sensitive. It was easy when everything was 5 years away. I'm glad I took the time to do this slowly rather than trying to do it all in one go, which for me would be very intense. You'll also need a plan to exit your business or job if you're not retired yet, or if you're not continuing the same line of work. Or maybe you can continue the same line of work, you just have to make sure you can work abroad. There are lots of videos out there of people who just did it. They up and moved, seemingly right away. And I'm guessing they're the younger set whose lives are 100% online. But for those of us who aren't, like myself, it just takes a little bit more time. I mean, I'd say maybe I'm 85%, maybe 90% online. I'm getting there. But I'm not telling you all of this to exhaust you. It's exhausting just thinking about all of those different things. But you can do it if you take the time and plan it out. So yes, you can do it if you take the time to plan it out. There's lots of good content out there. Yes, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, like ring the bell, gives you notifications when I send out a new video. But you know, there's other great content out there as well. Brighton, almost retired in Mexico, Q Paul, his older videos, they're back in the US now, but his older videos, those are very informative. And Jose Arteaga also has some informative videos on moving to Mexico. But yes, you can do it, and you can take your time doing it. You don't have to like, wow, I'm gonna move to Mexico like next month, and I gotta do all these things. You can do it. I will be living there as my home base, my permanent home in 2026. And at that time, I'll be bringing you more detailed content on all of those subjects, plus the lifestyle content. I'll be updating the channel with that. And of course, my property tours. I hope you've enjoyed this content. I do enjoy bringing it to you. And un fuerte abrazo, besitos y cuídate mucho.